Hello, everyone. Welcome to our baking club. Good afternoon. Today, for our baking session, we will be baking bread in a bag. Bread in a bag. I wonder how that's going to work out. I've baked bread before, but I haven't baked bread in a bag. So if everyone is ready to begin, let's start by getting a big, large Ziploc bag. First thing, though, make sure everyone has washed their hands before baking. I have washed my hands. Preheat your oven to 375. My oven has been preheated, and let's begin. So we're going to start off with adding some flour. So right now we need 3 cups of flour, but for the beginning, in order for the yeast to rise and sit for 10 minutes, we're going to add only 1 cup of flour to start off with. So if you can get your measuring cup and measure out 1 cup of flour. So here's my 1 cup. I'm pouring in 1 cup of flour into my bag. And then we're going to be adding our package of yeast. 1 package of yeast. I'm just going to grab my scissors so I can cut my yeast package open. And we're pouring in 1 package of yeast. Next step would be to get your warm water ready. My warm water is sitting in my kettle. So I've got my 1 cup of warm water. I'm pouring that as well inside the bag. And our last step for this is to add a 1/4 cup of sugar. So I'm pouring into my measuring cup a 1/4 cup of sugar. I've got my 1/4 cup of sugar, pouring it in to the bag. Okay, then what we do next is we seal the bag. We seal the bag. And with our hands, we're going to squish together the ingredients. So as you can see here, everything's in the bag. So I'm going to squish. Let's do this. Lots of squishing, everyone. Squish, squish, squish. Squish all the ingredients together. Said you can put it on a flat surface and squish. So once you finish squishing all your ingredients together and blending it all together, you're going to leave this in the bag for 10 minutes. So we are back now, and we had left our yeast and our flour in the bag for about 10 minutes. Should be ready by now. So the next step is we're going to be adding another cup of flour inside the bag. I'm going to get my flour out. So 1 more cup of flour. And then this is where we add the flour. And then we are adding our olive oil, which is 3 tablespoons of olive oil and 2 teaspoons of salt. So I've got my tablespoon here. I'll add the olive oil first. There we go. Giving up my olive oil. So 3 tablespoons of olive oil inside the bag as well, inside the mixture. So 1, 2, 3 tablespoons of olive oil, and I'm just going to grab a teaspoon from my cupboard. And we need 2 teaspoons of salt. So I'm getting my salt ready. My salt is here. I'm measuring out 1 teaspoon into the bag. And then another teaspoon, everyone. So we now have all our mixture inside the bag. And again, once we got all our ingredients back in, we do the same thing. We start squishing it again and kneading it all together. And we're not done yet. We still have one more step. So we squishing it, squeezing it. So all the ingredients, you can blend them all together, making sure they're all kneaded well. I can still see some flour through the bag, so I'm continuing to squish, 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 everyone. Squishing, squishing, squishing all around. And then my next step would be to add another cup of flour. And then once we add the cup of flour, so we add the remaining cup of flour in the mix, and then we combine everything again together. So I'm going to add one more cup of flour. I'm measuring out my cup again. I'm doing one more cup of flour. And again, I'm kneading it, sealing off my bag again and mixing it, all the ingredients together. And our last step would be to remove the ingredients from the bag. So that's where you get flat surface ready. I'm using my baking sheet right now, and I put on parchment paper on here. So it gives me enough space so I can mend this all together. So I've opened up my bag and I'm removing everything from the bag. I can still see there's flour, still needs to be mixed together. But as soon as I remove everything from there, there we go. And the mixture is all on the flat surface. Then you using your hands, again, make sure your hands are washed. Using your hands, you start mixing, mending it together until it's completely mended all together. And if you don't have a loaf pan, you can also bake it on a baking sheet. I think it would turn out great because you just make a shape of a bread and you place it in the oven. But today I'm going to be using my loaf pan. So I'm going to butter my loaf pan right now. And then our last step is to spread some butter on top of your bread, or you can put olive oil before you put it in the oven to bake. I'm going to place it in the baking sheet. And our baking time is 30 minutes, everyone. So I'm placing my bread loaf into the oven. And now it's ready to bake. Hello, everyone, and welcome back. I'm just taking my bread loaf out of the oven. I'm about to share with you. Here it is, everyone. My bread is all ready. It looks wonderful and so delicious. I hope everyone enjoyed our baking session today. Have a wonderful day. Bye.